Hello, everyone, and welcome to Let's Talk Social Episode 2. I'm your host Zaid, and co hosting with me today is CLS's very own Hussein.
Hello.
Uh, it is my privilege to welcome our guest today, Mr. Moideen Mustafa, General Secretary in the Indian National Congress of Minority Affairs, Maharashtra.
Thank you. Hello, everyone.
It is an honor for us to have you with us today, sir. And the topic for today's episode is going to be the state and identity of minorities in India and all over the world. So, sir, the first question we'd like to ask you is which demographic is actually considered as a minority? What is the criteria to determine who is a minority?
The demographic, if you look at, basically there are six major religions in India that has been awarded or recognized as given minority status. Those are Islam, Christianity, and Sikhism, Buddhism, and Jainism. Okay. And then there is another no additions to it, a category which is called ORP. Okay, that is other religions and provisions. Those are there. In that comes like the tribal religions which are there. Okay, and also like the religions those are not stated. So those religions also come under the this demographic which you are saying. Then the second one, which you said, second question was what are the
Criteria.
criteria? Criteria. Criteria. To understand the criteria, we need to understand the definition of minority. Okay. So minority, if you look at the Oxford, Advanced Learning Directory, that states the word minority as a small group of community or a country that is different from the race of the race and religion of the majority community. Okay. So in that aspect, it is basically a a numerical definition. If the strength is lesser than the higher one.
Okay.
And but the United Nations gives a different an inclusive definition where it says the term minority includes those non-dominant groups. You see that? Okay. So there is a dominant group which is there. Then there is a non-dominant group which wants to preserve its identity, okay, its culture, say or linguistics, all those things. So those are being termed by UN as a criteria for minority. So these are some of the criteria through which we can judge. And
Okay.
if you look at what the Constitution says, it gives protects us by granting those rights. And as per the Constitution of India, also it states based on the numerical strength. So we should go as per the numerical aspects, the criteria for identification of minority.
Okay. So India follows the numerical aspect for the criteria.
Most regions follow that,
Okay.
but there are some different definitions which how you can deal with that.
Yeah. So moving on to the next question, Hussein will take over here.
Yeah.
So, sir, these are like you stated, these are six major communities that fall under the minority category, and there are multiple others. So, why in a country with a constitution that focuses on democracy, are are we to give preference or importance to the voices of minorities more than the majority?
Hussein, it's not actually about giving importance. Okay. So it's about the fundamental rights. Okay. Which is being granted to us by the Constitution itself. So there's no question of giving any importance to any specific community or anything like that. Okay. Then again, if you look at it, like how do you define this? In the Constitution, if you look at, is classified into common domain and a separate domain. Okay. So as for minorities, the Constitution provides provisions in both the domains. Okay. So we are part of the common domain as well, okay, which is applicable to all citizens. and then we are also part of the separate domain. Okay. So the separate domain includes certain additional provisions where, like, you can say, right to education. Okay, that is specific only to minorities. Okay. Then there are right to say, what you can say, like, Sikh communities having they can keep their kirpans along with them. Okay. Then there are some other provisions also that are there in the separate domain. So we fit into both the domains, the common domain as well as the separate domain. So this is as per the constitution.
The constitution took in the factors that our majority numbers will not affect us to get any opportunity in the country. That it's what is ensuring.
Exactly. There actually what happens is that sometimes the possibilities are there in lot of regions. Okay, there are human rights violations based on religious designation, or for rather matter anything. So now we have seen what happened in US, right? The black versus white thing and protest and all those. Okay. So these are all those have been provisions for us minorities in India around 70 years back, like, after the group. This is how it
Thank you, sir. Yes.
Yes. So the next question that we'd like to pose to you is, what do you see as the potential of minorities, regardless of the religion? What is the potential of minorities in India?
The potentials, basically, if you look at from the talent pool, okay, so there is a huge potential in that. Okay. You can, like, you have potentials not just in education. Okay, you have potentials in India in sports. Okay. You have potentials in India for minorities in almost all segments, which a majority also enjoys. Okay. That does not mean that being a minority we don't have that potential. Every minority, you have known lot of figures. Even people like Kalam, Dr. Kalam, who has been the president, who has been a scientist. Okay, so there are lot of people in sports. Okay, lot of people in media, and of course technology also. There's a lot of potential that is there. So that is one thing, and, like, as I'll just quote what on Martin Luther King has said, like, almost always the creative and the dedicated minority has made the world a better. So, like, it's there. The potential is always there. Only thing is that it's about how you garner that potential.
Yes.
So, sir, moving on to the next question. How would you say is the current situation of minorities in India?
To understand the current situation, we need to understand what is the basically the understand the situation in aspects of education, employment, and economic conditions. Correct. For any community situation, if you want to understand, these are some of the basic criteria. Okay. Because education generates human capital, which is also necessary for economic, scientific, and technological progress in the nation. So that is one aspect. Then again, there are committees, like, which have given reports. Okay. That is Sachar committee. You all have heard about the Sachar committee? That's a government appointed committee. Okay. To understand or make a report on the minority state situation.
Okay.
This was actually published in sometimes in 2006. So these reports, okay, then there was also that another one, the Sachar committee report submitted their report and gave their inputs. Basically, it was an evaluation kind of. Then there was another committee that was appointed by the government again. It's Ranganath Mishra Commission. This was to give a recommendation and what should be done. So there was a report first, and then again a recommendation that was given. So to understand the situation, these are valued inputs. Okay, and these are being done by the government itself.
Okay.
So based on those understandings, what we can say that the situation is not so good. Okay, it's not that somebody me myself telling you that it is not good. It's about what the report says, the report of the government. Okay, and not just one report, two reports, and these reports, this Sachar is the justice, chief justice. Okay, Mr. Rangnath Mishra is also been a chief justice. Okay, with their team, and it's a government funded report and all that. In this report, what was found was that Muslim literacy is almost like, if you compare to the majority community, the minority community's literacy rate is very less. Okay. So, like, if it is 73%, 75% of majority, it is around 55% in the minority community. So, like this, there are several other findings also that are there. Okay. Now, in that same thing, they have found out about the education part. Okay. So they have found that minority is now actually the total minority is around 19 point something, almost around 20%. Okay, of the majority. Of this, 14.2% is only Muslim minority. Okay. So of this 14.2%, if you look at the primary level education, like the kids going to education, is only 4.4%.
Out of
out of 14%, being around 14% of the entire nation, the education is provided in the primary, because that's most important. The primary level education is very important.
Yes.
So there the dropout is so much. Okay. And again, there are more reports on that. Girl children, even it's like 1/10 of the girl children, they don't even pass out of the matriculation. Okay. So these are some of the findings in relation to education. Okay. So similarly, even with reference to economical situation, it has the report observes that most of the community, okay, I'm being specific to Muslims here because that report also mostly specifies to the Muslim minority. Okay. And Muslim minority is a major chunk of the entire minority. Out of the 20%, as I said, 14.2% or something is the Muslim minority. Then comes the Christian and Sikh and so on and so forth. Okay. In the economic situation, the report states that most families in this thing, they are home-based business. Okay. Small businesses, home-based businesses. They are not into some kind of organized sectors or segments.
Okay.
Which have protection. These are unprotected segments which people work on. And when it comes to employment, also the employment rate of minorities is unemployment rate is very higher. And sometimes even when compared to other minorities also it is higher. So if you look at the unemployment rate of OBC, if you compare it with Muslim, okay, the rate is almost equivalent. But at the same time, the ratio of population is very high. So that's the situation of the minorities, or rather the Muslim minorities.
Sir, can you give us maybe one of the reasons why there is such a gap in the education of minorities? Like, for example, you said 14.2% of the minorities are Muslims, but only 4.4% are being educated in the primary section. Can you give us maybe one of the reasons why there is such a large gap?
Yes. That is because of economical conditions. Okay. Most families, the major reason is being this, that many families cannot afford their kids to be educated after a certain level. Okay. Maybe out of the power. That is one of the major. Then there are other reasons like many families, they don't feel so much of importance. Okay. That has of late changed a lot. I'll agree to that. It is not, as of now, it is not so very much. But that is also been one primary reason. Like, families, they don't want to allow a girl child to study. Okay. So that is one big problem. Okay. Then, as I said, the economical reasons are there. Then other reason is like, where they are mostly, as I said, small businesses or home-based businesses. Okay. So the
Yes.
idea or the mentality is that finally he's going to do what I'm doing.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So they don't look at the bigger picture, or they have not been shown those opportunities that are available.
Mm.
But still now those opportunities have not been available also to a larger extent. So they have rather stopped going or looking for that opportunity and have contained themselves to their own way of going ahead with this.
Mhm.
That is some of the reasons.
Oh,
Okay.
sir,
So,
you stated the maximum home-based enterprises are running in the minorities. So, sir, because the education level is low, most of the government schemes like the MSME schemes that supports the micro and small and medium industries are basically not reaching the minorities because of that gap. Is there a crux of the matter here? Like it is not
Absolutely,
reaching.
absolutely, there it is. See, if you are looking at an organized industry, the benefits or the schemes for MSMEs or SMEs or something like that has conditions. Any government scheme will have conditions. Okay.
true.
I'll give you just an example of MSME which you said. Okay. So if they want to have that benefit, so they will have to have a proper company formed. Okay. Be it small, tiny, or something. They will have to have their company registration done. Okay. They will have to have their GST, or earlier it was VAT. Now they have to have their GST registered numbers with them. Okay.
Yes. Yes.
Then they should have a proper bank account. Okay. You will not find a lot of these home-based businesses. Those doesn't even have a bank account. So forget about the other aspects of the benefits that government provides or the MSMEs have that scheme.
The ease of doing business is difficult.
Difficult. It's not difficult because we are not approaching that. Okay.
Okay.
For MSMEs, as of now, in fact, it has become very simplified. Okay, you want to, you have to register a company as a proprietor, as an individual. You can do that very easily. Okay, you can just register yourself online as a portal. You can give your information. They will issue the certificates, but the awareness is not there.
Yes.
So these are all some of the things because that is there available, but a particular segment of this, not just minorities I'm saying, even other also like SC, ST, OBC, even those are not aware of all this. Even if they wanted to do some kind of a startup or something like that, they don't know because that level or that scale of awareness is still not there.
Okay.
Yeah.
So moving on to the next main question. What is the future of minorities in India in light of current policy making decisions?
In terms of policy making, if you see I'll say future, you are asking a future of
Yes.
minorities.
Yes.
Policies, if it remains in paper, it is not going to be any good to anybody. Okay. So for minorities, there are a lot of policies, there are a lot of schemes, okay, which the earlier government, the UPA government had done, and to a certain extent they have tried to implement it also. So these schemes or these were basically the schemes or policies are mostly relevant to education, okay, in minorities, for minorities. Okay. Some of them included pre-metric and post-metric scholarship. Okay. Then there was Maulana Azad Foundation for funds for higher education. Okay.
Hmm.
They're all still available. Okay. But once again, the issue is there is not so much awareness of it being available. Okay. The second thing is that it cannot be got very easily. Okay. So the disbursements are very difficult. Okay. The negligible attitude from the people or the authorities. Okay. That is one thing. Okay. Like that, there are several issues, and again, these schemes or these benefits are not so big as recommended by the Sachar committee or Ranganath Mishra. There is only a small drop of what is being said in that, and only to a specific segment.
Okay.
That is one thing. And for a future, based on the policy has to be implemented.
True.
Unless you implement a policy, you will not come to know the effects of it. So what,
Yeah.
as I said earlier, the earlier government had made those policies, everything, they put it in paper, implemented a few of them, but the current government, which is the BJP government, they wants to archive those documents also. So that is the state of the, you can say, look at in terms of future, in terms of policy.